We finally have our first look at an actual episode of the new Wheel of Time TV show. Now this came in the form of a 2.5-minute clip of the first episode of the show released by Rafe Judkins during the Comic-Con panel this past week. Today, I'll be breaking down the clip frame by frame to bring you all the details, Easter eggs, and some special things I noticed while watching this first look clip. Join me as we leave no stone unturned, breaking down the Wheel of Time TV show clip from season 1. Now before we dive into the breakdown, let's get two things out of the way. First of all, I want to thank the video sponsor, Bespoke Post. Bespoke Post is a subscription box service that offers some crazy awesome stuff at discounted prices. I've been a member since before they sponsored the channel, and I can attest that the stuff is super high quality. Basically, you fill out a short survey of your interests, and they will offer to send you a new box each month with new stuff in it. You get a preview, and if you like it, they will send it out. If you don't, you can switch it for one of the other offered boxes, or you could just say no for that month and you're not even billed. I've gotten a ton of really cool bar stuff, which is awesome, an amazing cooking knife, my own herb garden, which I still use, and some super cool clothing. What they do is they basically mass buy a lot of really high quality stuff and then get it out to us at a very low cost because they're doing it in such bulk. The stuff is really high quality and it is awesome. These things also make outstanding gifts. You should check it out. Check the link in the description of the video and sign up for Bespoke Post today. But we've got a video to get to, so let's hit the spoiler warning. Today's video will carry a spoiler rating of red, with major spoilers running all the way through The Shadow Rising. If you haven't read up to the 4th book of the series, watch this video at your own risk. Alright, so just like my trailer breakdown video, we are going to be using the patented Nae'Blis scoring system in the top left of the screen. You'll be able to follow along with what I like and what I don't like concerning the clip, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, kicking off the clip, we have this shot of the two rivers at night. Now, there's a very ominous storm coming as well. This is kind of offset by the sound of music coming from the village. I am certainly digging the vibe. Then we move inside the inn here to see Egwene serving folks at a table. All of the people in the first clip are extras with the exception of Rand, who is standing right here. Also, notice the windows here, and then we'll move to the next scene and notice that it's still Egwene serving, but the windows and people have changed. But because this is a new clip, she has essentially moved to the other side of the common room. We'll come back to that discussion later. This appears to be Tam right here as well, but we don't get a very good view of his face. Now in the next shot, we see some people drinking and having a good time. This right here is Days Conger living her best life, played by Mandy Simmons. Here we have more extras drinking and having fun. And right here you can see a pipe in this extra's hand. I love that even the women are enjoying Two Rivers Tobacco, not just men as stereotypes in fantasy would typically suggest. Now another thing to point out here is look at these cups. I love the attention to detail on the set and the props that just pop up on the screen for half a second. It's such a sign of great set design that there's this much attention to detail on the little tiny props in the show. We then cut to a clip of some older men sitting around and talking. Now this guy right here is Sen Bowie, played by David Stern. We don't know the other older men, but check out that walking staff. We then cut to this shot where we can see Rand in the far background walking against the wall. This table in front of him is the table that we first saw full of extras at the beginning of the clip. In the foreground, we see Tam Althor smoking his pipe, and directly across from him, we have Marcus Rutherford's Perrin. This next shot is of Egwene again, serving drinks. Now obviously this is meant to show us that Rand is impatient, walking around rather than him enjoying himself with his friends. He's staring at Egwene doing her work, and he's thinking. Now notice though, in the shot, Perrin is gone. Now we're going to come back to that in a second. When she meets his eyes and doesn't say anything, that should tell him that something is up, and you can certainly see that she is kind of avoiding him. Also in this scene, see Perrin right there behind her? Now he's back. Remember that as we move on to this next scene. And there he is. Perrin has teleported across the room. Now, for this moment, I am going to ding this, as the continuity of these two shots is all messed up. But I have a theory which we will come back to at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Now, in this clip, Perrin asks Rand how the ceremony went today, as they both look at Egwene. They are referring to the clips we saw in the trailer of Egwene being pushed into the river and then the colors in the water scene. Rand responds by saying that he doesn't know, as they actually have not had the chance to talk talk yet. Now that's actually very, very telling. Notice what Egwene is wearing here. This is the same outfit she had on in the trailer. Now during the trailer, it was light outside. The implication here is that Egwene walked in, everyone saw her, and she went to work and hasn't had a chance to speak to Rand at all, and they've both been in the inn all night. Egwene's eye contact and refusal to engage with Rand communicates that she is, in fact, avoiding him, and most likely due to a conversation that she doesn't want to have. One thing I love here is how they're able to communicate what's going on with so little verbal communication. You can see the story unfold even before Rand says a thing to Perrin. Now, as Perrin and Rand talk, you can certainly see the internal struggle on Rand's face. It's one thing that Yosha does an amazing job with, even in his other movies and shows. He acts with his face really, really well. He communicates his emotions without actually having to speak. Then we see the door being pushed open, and a shot of a mysterious person's boots coming in out of the rain. Now, as he walks in, you can see everybody's reactions to the entrance, including Nynaeve, who spins her head around right here. This shot is Bran Alvere with Egwene behind her, also staring at the mysterious person as they enter. Now, in this shot, you can see another angle in the inn, and you can see everyone looking towards the door. In the background, you have Rand and Perrin. Right in the foreground, you have Tam Al'Thor and what can be presumed to be other members of the village council, possibly. And right here is Nynaeve. Also in this shot is someone that is super easy to miss if you aren't looking for it, because he doesn't look anything like the pictures of the actor, and that is Bran Alvere, who is right here. We'll see him again in a second, but you can tell based on the white apron that he has around his waist. Also in this shot, see this board right here? There are stones on it, and it seems to be some sort of game. Now, the game of stones and the Wheel of Time is based around the modern game of Go, but that is not a Go board. It actually looks a lot more like a Snakes and Foxes board, but I don't believe that that's what they're playing here. It's interesting if that is another take on the game of stones. We then cut back to Lan with the door wide open still, and he has stepped inside. Now in this shot, you can see Nynaeve rise from her chair, and we see her come over to confront Lan with her hand on her knife as she asks for his name. We also have Tam in this shot, staring very intently at Lan as well. Lan uncovers his rain-soaked hood to reveal his absolutely beautiful face, and that Hadori. He then very casually and confidently gives his name and announces that Moiraine is about to enter. Now what is very subtle here is that he knows exactly when she is coming into the inn, as he can feel her. He doesn't need to turn and look. Their warder bond tells him that she's there, which really helps with the dramatic timing here as well. We then cut to Moiraine entering the inn, looking as regal as Moiraine does, and the ominous thunder that crunches when she pulls her cloak down is a bit heavy-handed, but it drives home the mood. We then cut to this shot of Egwene looking not scared or tensed like the others, but actually interested and intrigued. She seems to be admiring Moiraine, which is obviously something that Egwene would do. I like the subtle difference in her reaction to seeing Moiraine enter the inn than everyone else in the room. Contrast that with Perrin and Rand's tensed reactions, and you can see the differences in the way these characters react to this mysterious person. What I love about this is that you can learn a lot just from looking at their facial reactions. While that might seem easy to do, that actually isn't always easy to be that believable, and it's a sign of very good acting that you can communicate without speaking. We're able to see how these characters react and think without hearing them speak. We then cut back to Moiraine and Lan standing there, and we can hear a "Can I help you?" from off screen. You'd be forgiven for thinking that that came from Nynaeve, who's kind of right there, because I definitely did think that was her at first, but no, it is actually Bran Alvere coming from the way back of the room. However, Moiraine does walk right past Nynaeve, giving her a short glance, and OMG, the shade. They are certainly feeding Nynaeve's insecurities. Moiraine barely acknowledges her. Even though she has her hand on her knife and appears to be in charge, Moiraine casually just walks by her to Meryn. This is great setup for the animosity between them, and this is the exact thing that would trigger Nynaeve's insecurities as a character. This is fantastic writing and direction in my opinion, because again, something is communicated without any words having needed said. Also in the background, in another blink or you miss it moment, we again see Bran Alvere and his apron. At least I think so. Moiraine then asks Meryn for stables and rooms for the night and flashes her great serpent ring. This essentially confirms what we have sort of already put together, and that is that the rings will be much larger than described in the books, and they will have a stone at the center, which represents the Aja of the Aes Sedai. Now, you can see the instant recognition on Meryn's face as she responds by referring to Moiraine in the honorary Moiraine Sedai. Now, I'm kind of undecided on whether or not I like the fact that she knew that Moiraine was an Aes Sedai off the bat. On the good side, it lets them move forward with the plot faster and waste less time on the reveal later, and it actually makes a little bit more sense. The Two Rivers is the only place that we ever encounter in the books that doesn't seem to recognize an Aes Sedai ring, and while the Two Rivers is secluded, it's not completely isolated. People come and visit, traders come every year, people have left the village, Tar and Ferry people actually leave the village. It would actually be more surprising if nobody knew the symbol of the Aes Sedai here. On the other hand, the reveal in the books of finally when Moiraine shows that she's an Aes Sedai rather than just a lady is actually very interesting, and it shows us the characters gushing over her and then immediately being terrified and suspicious of her when they find out she's an Aes Sedai. I love that from the books, but nevertheless, this is a change from the books and they're going with it. Moiraine gives her the affirmative look and then bows away like, yep, you know who I am, go get to work. We then get various shots of villagers whispering to each other, undoubtedly about the fact that she's an Aes Sedai, all before we see Moiraine warming herself in front of the hearth, which looks amazing, by the way. There is then more suspicious whispering from villagers until Moiraine turns around and, very confident and very sure of herself, just starts staring down all the main characters in the room, giving them glares like she knows what's up. She first stares at Mat, who is standing here next to Nana, Agie, and Padu. Hopefully didn't butcher that, who is rumored to be a part of the cast, and this shot actually confirms it. She was rumored to be playing a character named Danya, and here she seems to be having a good old chat with Mat. Interesting that this is the only time you see Mat on screen in this clip, though. We actually also saw Danya in the trailer right here wearing the same red dress, and I'll explain the timeline here in a minute. We then cut back to Nynaeve giving Moiraine the death stare from behind Lan. The door is still open, by the way. Moiraine clearly expects someone else to come and close it, even though she was the last one in. We then go to Egwene, and again, she looks interested, not tense like the other characters are. Perrin and Rand are very tense, and you can see them right here. And then we go to Meryn as she gives a very slight look to Egwene before leading Moiraine off the screen. Now, I've seen some speculation that this is because Meryn is speculating that maybe Moiraine is here to take Egwene. I'm not sure that that's the case, but that look does say something. Now, as they walk off, you can see Senbui right here and then Tam holding his pipe as they walk past. And that's it for the clip. So now that we've gotten through it, let's address a few things. First, let's talk about those continuity errors earlier. What a continuity error is that as a shot, a character is in a particular place, and then the next shot, they're somewhere else. Those things can throw you off without you even realizing it, and that happens actually a lot in this clip. It's also not great cinematography, so there's two possible reasons for this. One, it's a mistake. I don't think that's the case, given the quality of the people behind the show. Uta Brezowitz directed this episode, and she's the executive producer. I would be shocked if a director and cinematographer of her caliber missed something as simple as that. So what else could it be? Well, I think the video is actually cut. Keep in mind that this was a clip to highlight the people on the Comic-Con panel. This scene happens to have all of them in it, but it is likely not all tied up in a bow like it's shown. They couldn't show a long clip, so they decided to cut out other interactions and overall made a shorter clip, while at the same time making it look like this would be how it plays out in the show. I think those cuts actually make the clip feel a little bit more rushed than it likely is in the real timeline. So while I love this clip, I actually think that it'll probably play out better in the show. The second thing I wanted to hit here is the timeline of events. I think this clip actually takes place close to halfway through the episode. So let me explain so we can sort of piece things together. First, they need to introduce Rand and Egwene's relationship, and based on the pictures and the trailer, Egwene and Rand discuss whatever ceremony that she's going to go to before she actually goes to it. Then we know Egwene goes through the colors in the water scene. She gets pushed into the river by Nynaeve, and then she floats down the river. Later, she is in a change of clothes and presented to us at the inn, with Nynaeve smiling on and everybody in the inn seeing her. Notice that it is daylight when that happens. She is wearing the exact same dress in that clip, as well as Rand, Mat, Perrin, Nynaeve, and Danya are all wearing the same clothing as well. So, Egwene returns to the inn with her hair braided, goes to work in the inn without talking to Rand, and they are there until nighttime when this clip happens. Now, obviously, this is the first time they meet Moiraine, so it's unlikely that this is Winter Night, where the Trolloc attack happens, because we see clips of Moiraine in the daylight moving around the village. Also, Egwene and Nynaeve are wearing different clothes the night of the Trolloc attack. So that makes me believe that this is the day before, and the next day will be Beltane, and then we will see the attack on the village the following evening. So anyways, that is my breakdown of the clip. What do you all think? Are you more excited or less excited based on this clip? How many eggplants would you give it? let me know in the comments of the video. Make sure also to like the video if you liked it, and subscribe to the channel. We'll have so much more show content coming out here on the channel in the next few months. You will not want to miss any of it. Also, don't forget, check out Bespoke Post. It is really awesome. You will love it. Get it as a gift for someone you know. And huge thank you to my patrons. You guys make this all possible, and if you want to sponsor the channel, make sure to check out the Patreon and all of the associated perks. That link is in the description of the video. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, peace out.